Have you ever wondered why some people simply never apologize? You can tell them exactly what happened. You can explain that their words hurt you. You can even give them time to think about it. But instead of saying, I'm sorry, they say things like, I did not do anything wrong. You are too sensitive. You misunderstood me. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? And sometimes they even make you feel like you are the problem for being hurt. So, why does this happen? Is it ego, insecurity, emotional immaturity, or is there something deeper happening psychologically? Let's understand the psychology of apologies, emotional defensiveness, and why some people struggle so much with emotional accountability. So, let's begin. The psychology behind an apology. Let's start with something very simple. An apology is not just the words, I am sorry. A genuine apology requires a person to look at their own behavior and accept my actions affected another person, because accepting responsibility can bring up guilt, shame, embarrassment, or fear of being judged. For emotionally healthy people, these feelings can be uncomfortable, but they can tolerate them. They can think, okay, I made a mistake. I don't like that I made it, but I can take responsibility. But for someone who has difficulty handling guilt or shame, the brain may immediately go into protection mode. Instead of, I made a mistake, the mind says, I need to prove that I did not do anything wrong. And that's where emotional defensiveness begins. Why some people become defensive. Think about a simple conversation. You say, when you said that, I felt hurt. A defensive person may immediately respond, but I did not mean it. You say, I understand you did not mean to hurt me, but I was still hurt. And they say, why are you always so sensitive? Now notice what happened. The conversation was supposed to be about your feelings, but instead of understanding your feelings, the person started defending their intention. This is an important psychological difference. Intent and impact are not always the same. Someone can have good intention and still hurt you. Emotional maturity means being able to say, I did not intend to hurt you, but I understand that I did. That sentence shows accountability. When being wrong feels like being bad. Here's a deeper part of psychology. Some people don't separate I did something wrong from I am a bad person. Those are very different things. A healthy mindset says I made a mistake, but I can learn from it. An unhealthy mindset may say, if I admit I'm wrong, people will think I'm weak, stupid, or bad. So the person protects their self image. They deny, justify, blame, change the topic, or bring up your mistakes. And sometimes they attack the person who is asking for accountability. This is why emotional accountability can be difficult for some people. The problem is not always that they don't understand what happened. Sometimes they understand it very well, but they don't know how to emotionally handle being responsible for it. So, where can this pattern come from? There is not one answer. People develop emotional patterns from many different experiences. Some grew up in families where adults rarely apologized. Maybe nobody said, I was wrong, I'm sorry, I hurt you. So the child never learned what healthy repairs look like. Others may have grown up in environments where mistakes were heavily criticized. They learned never admit weakness. Some people also have very strong perfectionist tendencies. They feel uncomfortable being seen as imperfect. And some people simply have not developed good emotional communication skills. This is important for mental health awareness. Understanding someone's behavior does not mean excusing harmful behavior. You can understand where a pattern may come from and still decide that the behavior is unhealthy for you. Not everyone who does not apologize is a narcissist. There's something important we need to be careful about. If someone does not apologize once, that does not automatically mean they are narcissist. Online psychology often turns complicated human behavior into simple labels. Someone does not apologize, narcissist. Someone becomes defensive, gaslighter. Someone disagrees with you, toxic. Real psychology is more complicated. We need to look at patterns, not one isolated behavior. Ask yourself, does this person eventually take responsibility? Can they listen? Can they acknowledge your feelings? Can they admit when they made a mistake? Do they try to repair the relationship? Or do they repeatedly deny, blame, manipulate, and make you feel guilty for expressing your feelings? The pattern tells you much more than one argument. Apology versus real accountability. And here's something many people miss. An apology is not the same thing as accountability. Someone can say, fine, sorry, and then repeat the same behavior next week. That's not meaningful change. Real emotional accountability sounds more like, I understand what I did. I understand why it hurt you. I should not have reacted that way. I'll try to handle it differently next time. And then their behavior actually changes, because the strongest apology is often not a sentence, is change behavior. That's especially important in relationship psychology. Healthy relationships aren't built on never making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. They are built on the ability to repair after the mistake. So, what can you do when someone never apologizes? First, don't spend hours trying to force an apology. You can communicate clearly. When that happened, I felt hurt. I would like you to understand why. Then watch their response. Are they listening? Are they becoming defensive? Are they blaming you? Are they trying to understand? You don't have to keep explaining your feelings endlessly to someone who has already decided not to listen. Second, focus on behavior. Ask yourself, is this person changing or am I only hearing promises? And third, remember your boundaries. A boundary is, I won't continue having this conversation if I'm being insulted or blamed for expressing my feelings. That's a healthy approach. The bigger psychology insight. Here's the most important thing to remember. Someone's inability to apologize does not automatically tell you your feelings are wrong. Sometimes it tells you something about their emotional capacity, their ability to handle guilt, their relationship with vulnerability, their communication skills, their emotional maturity, and their ability to take responsibility. You cannot force another person to develop emotional accountability, but you can decide what behavior you are willing to accept in your relationships. So instead of constantly asking, why won't they apologize? Try asking, what does this repeated behavior tell me about this relationship? That's where psychology becomes useful. Because psychology explained is not about labeling people, it's about understanding pattern, protecting your mental health, and learning how to build healthier relationships. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to Heart and Mind for more such psychology insights and mental health awareness. Understanding the mind, understanding yourself, build healthier relationships.